Hello, good evening. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Thanks so much for joining me. I am running a little behind today. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to be on here for a short period of time, but I am going to be on Instagram in a few minutes where you can join me if you have an account. If not, you can always find me here at around 4 p.m. Eastern time where I'll take your questions, and then also I have a topic for you. So I'm going to be on Instagram in a minute to do a live there, but I am going to still talk about the topic that I think is important for you to know. And that is if you qualify for VAWA. VAWA is where you're applying for immigration relief, you're applying for your work permit, your travel document, and your green card through the VAWA process based on mistreatment by a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse, a parent if you're under 21, under 25 in some cases, or by a U.S. citizen son or daughter who's 21 and up. If you're experiencing mistreatment, verbal, physical, emotional, financial abuse, then this could be for you. Now, some people though hesitate to apply for this type of relief because they themselves have been arrested or convicted, and so they're afraid that they're going to be denied and it's going to cause a domino effect for them. So in this case though, there are ways to still get VAWA, get your green card, even after an arrest or a conviction. Now, one thing I see often is where individuals are here and they are being mistreated by this U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident relative. And the relative, if they're physically assaulting them, the instinct is to defend yourself. Unfortunately, what happens is the police, when they come on the scene, either because the relative called the police or because someone else called the police, if they heard the dispute, the police will come on scene, and in some cases the abuser turns around and they make it look as if the victim here, so the immigrant victim, is the instigator. They were the ones that caused the fight. They were the ones that lashed out and physically harmed the U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident abuser. And in cases like that, unfortunately, the immigrant victim, the person that's always been subject to the abuse, is the one that goes to jail for it and is maybe convicted. If you have a situation like this, know that this is a consideration in the VAWA process, as in, if they see a pattern where you were arrested and convicted because you were defending yourself or it was in some way related to the abuse, then they are going to not hold it against you, and they're still going to find that you do have good moral character required in order to get this immigration relief. So my point here is if you had a history, it doesn't necessarily count you out of getting immigration relief. You could still qualify. Now, another thing is suppose it wasn't related to the abuse, but you yourself, you have a history. What can you do then? In this case, you would still apply for a waiver if it's going to render you inadmissible. Inadmissible means that you can't get the immigration benefit because you're inadmissible. However, a waiver fixes the situation. It forgives that issue and still allows you to get the permanent resident. So for example, if you have a criminal issue, you could apply for a waiver, and the waiver is based on your extreme hardship as the VAWA applicant. So there, you don't need other relatives to be other U.S. citizen or resident relatives to qualify for this. They're going to look at your extreme hardships in order to determine whether you should get the relief, the immigration relief. So there is a way around even your history that's unrelated to the abuse that you experienced. That's what I had to tell you here. So my point here is if you have had any past arrest or conviction and you that is holding you back from applying for VAWA, know that you can still qualify for VAWA. And if it is going to be a problem, if it is going to render you inadmissible, we could apply for a waiver. This is what I help my clients with. So what you can do is call, schedule your appointment, or go to the link in the profile, or go to the link on the About page on YouTube. Click on the link. It's going to take you to the website where you're going to see all the information you need to get in touch and schedule your appointment so we can get started on your case ASAP. Now, put those questions in the comments. I am here to answer your questions. So put those questions in the comments, and thanks so much for the love. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining me on YouTube. Thanks for joining me on TikTok today. Tomorrow, you can look out for me as usual at around 4 p.m. Eastern time, where I will continue to bring topics to you and also ask questions. Now, thank you for the love. If this has been useful to you, make sure that you make sure you subscribe on YouTube, and also share the lives on TikTok, because this is the way that the word gets out about how I can help clients and how they can empower themselves through the immigration process. So don't hesitate to like, subscribe, share, follow. Okay, now I'm going to answer those questions. How long are the permits for working in USA taking? So they're taking anywhere from 3 months to 11 months. It depends on the type of application. With marriage-based, I'm seeing an average of 6 to 8 months. With the VAWA, for example, those are taking anywhere from up to 11 months. Unfortunately, I've seen the least months is 4 months, and the most I've seen is 11 months. How much time does it take to approve the I-751? So Ankush, unfortunately, it's backed up. They are taking measures to try to reduce it. One of the great aspects of the measures they're taking is they're waiving some interviews. So if you submit a really good application, they may waive your application. Once you submitted a proper application that doesn't present any additional questions, you may just get it in the mail, your updated 10-year green card in the mail. We're seeing an average time of 2 years for those, and that's why they're issuing 2-year extension letters. I have asylum pending application till 2015, since 2015. Now I have approved 131 based on VAWA. Can I travel? Is it safe? Now that's a very, very specific question, and it's going to come down to what are the facts in your case. If you applied for asylum, what did you apply for asylum based on? If you are saying, is it safe to travel to your own country? Keep in mind that coming in, these are questions that the immigration officer may have for you. How is it that you applied for asylum when you are afraid, you're saying in the asylum application you can't go back to the country? And that may raise additional questions about your intention. Was it frivolous? Was it an asylum application that misrepresented your facts? This can lead to severe immigration consequences. So I would be very wary about that, but I'm not your attorney. I haven't reviewed your case, so I wouldn't be able to advise. I-751 is taking forever. I am waiting since 2016, got 3 extensions already. Oh my gosh. You are not alone, Sunshine Cindy. It is taking quite a long time. And you're not the only one. Since 2016 definitely is way over the 2-year average processing time. So you may want to get assistance with your process. You can always click on the link, go to the website. It's going to give you the number. It's going to give you the online chat form. It's going to give you the contact form. All three lead to the scheduling coordinators who will help you to schedule your appointment. Does your process to get green card move faster once you and your partner get a child together? Not necessarily. A child is great evidence that you do have a bona fide marriage, but it doesn't mean that it's going to go faster because of that. How long does it take N400 approval? So my cases are taking anywhere from 2 months to 6 months on average. During the extension, can we travel outside of the USA? So Ankush, I don't know what your situation is. I don't know if it's advisable for you specifically to travel, but generally speaking, those extension letters serve as evidence that you're still a permanent resident. And as long as everything is okay in your case, that's where you need to make sure you get personal legal advice. That, when you have a clean case, you're not concerned about any particular issues that you could encounter coming back into the country, it's going to be safe to travel with the extension letter, with your green card and your passport. But keep in mind, I'm not your attorney. I can't give you specific legal advice about whether it's safe for you to travel. I usually provide that advice to my clients on a case-by-case basis, depending on what's going on. How long is it taking for work permits with new policies? So we're watching it. They're trying to do things to speed it up. And so I'm seeing anywhere from 3 months to 11 months. So it still varies. Does applying for asylum heavily depend on the country you are coming from? For example, Bahamas. So they're gonna, now when the officer is evaluating your asylum application, they're gonna look at the conditions in your country. They're very well versed on different issues in different countries, whether that country does have a tendency to persecute, or citizens of that country have a tendency to persecute certain individuals. And so it's not necessarily dependent on the country, but what's going on in the country that's causing the persecution. So, for example, you may have religious persecution in some countries where maybe Muslims are the minority or Christians are the minority, and so they face dangers, threats, harms. It may be that there's gang violence, extensive gang violence, pervasive gang violence throughout the whole country. And you may be targeted by the gang to join the gang. And if you refuse, you will be killed. And the police won't do anything about it. That could be a basis for asylum. But of course, when the officer is examining your claim, they're going to look at the credibility of those claims. They're going to look at whether that is a known issue in that country. So it's the country, yes, can very well play a part in what's your asylum claim. Happy Singh, thank you. You're welcome, and thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate it. So Jordan, I am based at, so now I am the managing attorney at ST Law Office. We are a national law firm. That means that we represent clients all across the country and the globe, as long as you have a U.S. immigration issue, but we're based in Boca Raton, Florida. How long does the fiance visa take to approve by the USCIS? So it depends on the embassy. Some embassies may not be prioritizing the fiance visa. So I would say generally you're looking at 12 months to 18 months for the fiance visa. And it also comes down to the embassy, what's going on there. All right, so great questions. These were great, relevant questions. I'm not finished. I'm heading on over to Instagram, where I'm going to continue the live. Tomorrow, I'll be back at 4 p.m. Eastern time to answer your questions. Do exactly this, except I will be on for a longer time from 4 p.m. Eastern time. So join me at that time so we can talk more about immigration issues that matter to you. I can answer your questions, and then I'll bring a topic. Now, keep in mind that the information that I'm giving you is general information. It is not personal legal advice. So you should always schedule an appointment if you would like, if you are ready to get started. You may not be ready to get started, but you want to understand what you are facing, what you should be prepared for. I find that these are the best cases. When you call and you find out how to get started and how to do it, what to expect, what to avoid, you avoid mistakes, you empower yourself, and you are given the tools and the knowledge to understand how to get started. So I'm seeing a few here and I can't resist answering these. So let's go here. How long does the process take when you get married to a citizen? I say prepare for about 18 to 24 months. Right now, I am my shortest case is it's going in the months, so 6 months. But I say because there's a backlog, 18 months, maybe even 24 months. Keep in mind that the length of time also depends on what's going on in your case. I find that many people who apply pro se, so without an attorney to assist them, their process can take a while because they're making mistakes. They don't submit a proper application. They don't submit proper evidence. And they may go to the interview and the officer has additional questions. And so that may be a type of case that goes on 24 months, or maybe even over 2 years. So you have to be very proactive about your case. Make sure you invest in your case to get the right help and representation to get the best results. How long does the process, so my I-130 is approved, but I have PD, asylum case, any problem, my I-485. So this is a complex case. I would have to evaluate. You have the approved I-130, but what's going on with the asylum? What's going on with the, is it defensive asylum, affirmative asylum? These are the questions that I would have to get answered to be able to tell you how to move forward. So I wouldn't be able to advise on that. So Daniela, I'm in Boca Raton, Florida, but we are a national firm. We represent clients all over the country, all over the world. If you have a U.S. immigration issue, I can help you. So I'm going to head on over to Instagram now. I'm the immigration attorney on Instagram. Join me there so we can continue to have a good conversation. If you didn't get your questions answered here, you can ask it on Instagram. I'm going to be there in a quick minute. Thanks for joining me. I am on here between Mondays to Fridays. I'm on here to answer your questions. So I'll see you in a minute on Instagram, The Immigration Attorney, where we can continue to have this conversation. If you can't join me there, guess what? I'll be back tomorrow. Join me tomorrow where you can go ahead and ask your questions. Now, one more. Which one is faster, married in your country or married in the state? So they're going on around the same timeline, but what I say is if you're doing it through adjustment of status, you have the advantage of being with your spouse throughout the entire process. If you're doing it in the foreign country, you're going to be separated for the duration of the process, which can go from months to years. All right, have a great one. I will see you. Okay, so Ashley, I can't resist this one either. Can I renew my conditional permanent resident green card if me and my husband are not together? Absolutely, but you'll need to do it in a certain way. You cannot just apply and say, I want to get the 10-year. I'm not with my spouse. There's a waiver. I help my clients with this. You can always call, schedule an appointment. Let's talk about what's going on. It can be based on divorce, based on mistreatment, based on your extreme hardship. What if he already has a 2 years green card and don't show up for the 10 years one? Will he still get it? That's questionable. It's going to depend on what happened in your case. So Jaden, schedule an appointment. Let's talk about it. If he does not apply to renew and doesn't show up for the interview when it's scheduled, that's could be a big problem. The next step for them would be to issue a notice to appear in immigration court if he doesn't get it resolved. So that is urgent. Call, schedule an appointment. Let's talk. Is DACA coming back? We'll have to see how the litigation plays out. A court has put it on hold. So no, while renewals can go forward, new initial filings cannot. And it's going to depend on the decision of the court. Unfortunately, litigation, which is the court, the suing of between the government, the state, and the United States, it's going to take a while, and so we'll have to see how things play out. All right, I'll see you in a minute on Instagram, or I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Have a great evening.